There was a young woman named Emily, who had just moved into an old house on the outskirts of town. The house was cheap, and after a long search, she was relieved to finally find a place she could afford. However, there was one thing that always bothered her: the mirror in the hallway. It was an antique, large and ornate, with strange carvings along its frame. It was the only thing left behind by the previous owner. Emily couldn't help but feel an eerie sense of dread every time she walked past it. Something about the mirror felt wrong. One evening, after a long day, Emily decided to clean the house. As she passed by the mirror, she paused for a moment and gazed into it. Her reflection looked fine, but she thought she saw something move in the corner of the glass. She quickly turned around, but there was nothing there. It was just her imagination, she told herself. But that night, as Emily was lying in bed, she heard soft whispers. They were faint at first, almost like a breeze, but they grew louder. She tried to ignore them, but the whispers seemed to come from the direction of the hallway. She felt a chill run down her spine, and against her better judgment, she decided to investigate. The hallway was dark, only illuminated by the faint glow of the moonlight coming through the window. As she approached the mirror, the whispers grew louder. When Emily looked into the glass, she froze. Her reflection wasn't just standing there, it was smiling at her. Terrified, Emily stumbled back, but the reflection didn't move. It just continued to smile, a twisted, unnatural grin. She turned and ran back to her bedroom, slamming the door shut behind her. She tried to convince herself it was just her mind playing tricks. But deep down, she knew something was horribly wrong. The next day, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She tried to avoid the mirror, but the whispers continued. Each night, they grew louder, more desperate. Emily couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't think straight. She was losing her mind. One night, unable to bear it any longer, Emily confronted the mirror. She stood in front of it, staring at her reflection, her heart pounding. And then, as if in response, the reflection moved on its own, its smile widening, eyes glowing with malice. "You shouldn't have looked," it whispered, its voice cold and mocking. Before Emily could scream, the reflection reached out from the glass and grabbed her by the wrist. With a terrifying yank, Emily was pulled into the mirror, her body vanishing into the cold, glassy surface. The next morning, Emily's house stood empty. The mirror, still in its place, remained unchanged. But those who dared to look into it would swear they could see a faint figure. Trapped inside, clawing at the glass,